Folks, in today's video, we are analyzing Applovin stock's ticker symbol APP. Applovin stock has been consolidating for several months now, and I've identified a really great and very bullish trade setup, which we'll be talking about in a few minutes on the chart using TrendSpider. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the fundamentals in Investors Business Daily. We'll see how the fundamental rankings stack up using their key rankings. We'll move on to the technical analysis of TrendSpider, and then we'll leave it off with the valuation on a historical basis so we can appreciate whether or not we believe that this stock is going to be a short-term play, intermediate play, or a much longer investable trade. So let's dive in. Now, beginning with Investors Business Daily Research, which is basically my outsourcing vendor for the fundamental analysis of the stock. You can see that it is number one in its group, which is computer software. The shares have a composite rating of 92, which is very powerful. An earnings per share rating of 83, very good. Relative strength is at 98 and rising. This is critical. The group strength as a D+. We're going to go over the group in a moment. I think that this is going to improve, so I'm not too concerned about the group strength. You have the XLK, which is the technology ETF, breaking out to all-time highs. Semis breaking out to all-time highs. I think very soon we're going to have this group breaking out to all-time highs. We'll be taking a look at a chart of IGV, which is the software ETF, to do some analysis there. What matters most to me on this stack ranking of data is the accumulation distribution rating. It's got a B. This is green. Therefore, we are seeing institutional accumulation of the stock, which has been in a sideways consolidation ever since May, June, when it was not included into the S&P 500. Key dates to watch. Earnings will be reported on August the 6th. Earnings per share last quarter, 149%. The 3-year EPS growth rate, 940%. Earnings per share estimates, current year up 84% projected. ROE, which is return on equity. This is the scorecard for how effective management is. And any read in the high teens, low 20s is respectable, very respectable. The annual ROE for Applovin is 134.7%. Huge, really good management team here. Sales change last quarter, 40% to the plus side. 3-year sales growth, 22%. We're going to talk more about the multiple in a little while. Beta, which is a measure of volatility, is extremely high. Any read above 1 is considered to be volatile. We are 2.41. Now, before we get into the chart of Applovin, we're first going to want to see what the parent indexes are doing. So for our proxy, we're going to use the QQQ and IGV. Obviously, QQQ, Applovin is a member of, as well as the IGV, which is a software index. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that this equity market is extremely expensive on a historical basis. And what you're looking at is my updated support zones on the triple Qs. It's free. It's linked below. And you'll see where the major key support levels are if, in fact, the triple Qs go into a correction. So please take a moment. It's free, because in the coming months, especially as we head into the fall, you're going to need it. Now, what you're looking at here is a daily chart of the triple Qs. Again, Applovin is a member of this ETF. So we're going to want to do a pulse check of how healthy the triple Qs are. And you're not going to see much in terms of support and resistance on a daily chart. These are the automated trend lines. However, the Fibonacci's are important here. They acted as resistance for a couple of days last week. Ultimately, on Thursday, we broke out. Friday, a retest. And even though we closed down on Friday, it's still a bullish breakout. And the trend, of course, is to the upside on the triple Qs. Again, we are extremely expensive here. We are extended. So just keep that in mind when you're deciding on any trade, not just Applovin, any trade associated with the triple Qs or the S&P 500 for that matter, that they are all very expensive, very pricey. So that should influence the duration of your trade, whether it be a short-term trade or a longer-term swing trade. And of course, it should influence the size of your position so you're not dedicating too much money to any one individual stock when they are expensive, and especially when the S&P 500 and the triple Qs are expensive as well. But long story short here, the path of least resistance on the triple Qs remains to the upside. As for the IGV, the software ETF, I'm going to throw up the automated trend lines on TrendSpider. And here you could see that we bounced around off of these support levels and we are grinding up higher. So again, the path of least resistance on this ETF, the software sector ETF, is to the upside. Now, before we go to the chart of Applovin, I want to talk to you about TrendSpider and the offer they have going on right now. It's pretty huge, the summer flash sale. You could use the link below on YouTube, link above on X or Facebook. And no, it's not your eyes. I just switched screens here. Up to 42% off. Normally, I am able to give you a 35% discount to TrendSpider. This is significantly more than what I'm offering right now, so I would really take advantage of this while it lasts. This looks to be just a weekend sale. Now, it's worth mentioning, whatever level you decide, it's up to 42% off your first invoice. Me, I'm going yearly here. I'm not going monthly because it'll only last for 1 month. I would take the yearly sign up to capture that 42% discount for the entire year. And their functionality is obviously amazing. I use it all the time. I've been a member since 2017. So if you're looking for ideas, and that's exactly how I found Applovin stock, through this scanning tool. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go over that. You could scan on multi-time frames, track what Congress is buying. You could pay big money for that with a separate service. It's free with TrendSpider. So a ton of data here. I don't want to take up your valuable time. Review this at your leisure. But again, huge limited time, 42% off of their plans. Now to Applovin. I found this setup, which is called a Bollinger Band Squeeze, with my market scanner. I chose the Contrarian Squeeze weekly using the NASDAQ 100 and scanned for opportunities. And we had a bunch: Starbucks, PDD, KDP, EXC, CEG. I like this one, Applovin. Let's overlay our support and resistance levels. And you may want to do a print screen of this if you want to check them out on your own. So we're on a daily chart. And what this scan shows us is when you have the Bollinger Bands in red trading inside of the Keltner channels. When you have a stock that's in a sideways consolidation or an uptrend, it's generally a bullish setup. Now, you could see here that they did a liquidity flush back in June when Applovin was not included into the S&P 500. It struggled at this long-term support level. Finally, on July the 15th, we broke out and above, retest 1, retest 2, retest 3, and follow through last Thursday. But we failed to close above this resistance level. But I think that we're going to. So what I'm going to do is in the members area, I'm going to input my stop loss point, my entry point, and my price target on Applovin, because I think with this Bollinger Band squeeze beginning to fire off to the upside, that we have significant upside potential here. So members, expect an alert as soon as early this week. Now we're going to segue over to full ratio, and we're going to talk about the valuation of Applovin. And we have some good stuff here, but we do have some concerning metrics as well that we want to talk about and we want to address and acknowledge. So APP's gross profit has surged by 57% year on year and by 13% since the previous quarter. Good stuff. Revenue up 42% year on year and by 9% since the previous quarter. Good stuff. However, the company's equity fell by 47% quarter on quarter and by 24% year over year. The PE is 36% above its last 4 quarters average of 47.1. Hard stop here. The S&P 500 is a stone's throw away from the October 2021 high on the Shiller PE ratio, which is around a 38 handle. So keep this in mind because it should influence, again, the size of your position and the duration of your position. Some of these bullet points here are duplicative. I've already gone over them, so I'm not going to repeat them. This one here, net margins has soared by 127% year on year and by 12% since the previous quarter. Operating margins surged 67% year on year and by 8% since the previous quarter. So some really good stuff here on Applovin. Now, looking at the price to earnings multiple, you could see that with 36% above its last 4 quarters, the however is, you pull back to a 10-year view. We've been significantly higher in the past, so there is more room to run here for a rally up higher. Where it becomes a little bit more concerning is price to book. We are at all-time highs by a wide margin. And as for price to sales, another instance of where we are pretty expensive on Applovin stock. So I'll post this chart below in the description area. If you agree, you don't agree with me, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. But in closing, I think that as long as the equity markets hold up here, I think that this setup on Applovin stock is pretty bullish. We have, again, the Bollinger Bands trading inside the Keltner channels. Each time that's happened in the past year, back here in November, huge rally. Back here in January, huge rally. Here we are yet again. Folks, don't forget on Sunday nights we go live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, don't forget about our triple Qs support zones. You'll see the updated one. This is the old one from back in February. So take advantage of it. I'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great weekend. Chat with you on Sunday night. Till then, be well.